Die My Love is a 2025 psychological drama film that has been directed by Lynn Ramsey. Grace, a writer, a young mother, and soon to be wife, slowly slipping into the madness locked away in an old house in Montana, while her increasingly agitated and erratic behavior leaves her husband worried and helpless. These are one of these movies I can't recommend a lot of people to watch because when it comes to psychological drama films, people think about romance. People think about some communication skills when it comes to like relating to characters in their relationships. Now, Die My Love has all this, but this is basically focused on two characters trying to do right, try to do things normal, and above all, trying to make their relationship be connected by being around a lot of their flaws and a lot of negative activity, and they don't want to embrace their flaws. They want to channel their flaws to the point where they are not pursuing it in a way where even people around them is aware of this. And I feel as if a film like this was powerful. I feel like a movie like this that has a lot of activity when it comes to the visualities of characters that are flawed, characters that are really heavily negatively like energized with their emotions, and above all just have a lot of channel emotions during to their depressional states. It's a film that a lot of films do, but what I like about Die My Love is the fact that they focus a lot of those activities and channel it in ways where it didn't just make me relate to the film in ways where it was some behavior that I even picked up on when I was younger. I'm like, man, I remember when I was like this. I remember when I was petty like this as well. I'm not trying to say for people who've seen this movie, no. I'm not saying I'm like this now, but I'm just saying like a film like this put in a lot of elements of character development that a lot of films that is focused on depressional behaviors would not dare to fucking do. And that's why I'm saying I would not recommend this to a lot of people, especially if you're watching this with a couple, because y'all are going to be arguing a lot. Y'all are going to be feeling a certain way towards each other, especially if you think that they have not moved on from their issues. The movie picks up at a very, very steady pace. For some it drags, but for me it didn't at all. When I knew that this film was about the activities of mental state and just mental stability, I wanted to pick up on their behavior, especially when they was having downtime. And this is focused on two characters, two couples that is, basically a couple that is literally on the starting bounds of their issues, especially when they begin to have a baby and when they are on the verge of getting married. And this is Robert Pattinson's character and Grace, that is played by Jennifer Lawrence. I'm gonna have to say their character development was great. Their character development is very tacked on. Now, what I like about this film is the fact that it can be a debatable switch when it comes to the activity of how people are looking at this relationship. Some people will say that the movie showed a lot of negative actions towards these characters, but I think that's what Lynn Ramsey was going for, is you having these flaws first and you trying to fix it by throwing some Cinderella activity to it. Let's see if I buy her a dress. Let's see if we get married. Let's see if we buy this and buy this, and then maybe the whole issue will go away. But it didn't. And it showed these two characters literally going into the stating grounds of them losing their fucking minds. And what I like about films like this is that when you have a problem, how are you going to solve this problem? Are you going to solve it by having a conversation, or are you going to solve it by trying to figure it out for yourself? When it comes to these two characters, they try to have downtime. But when it comes to them having these communicational skills in balance, it doesn't end well, especially when it comes to Jennifer Lawrence's character, Grace. She is one of these females that a lot of females don't want to admit that they are today, and that is trying to pick up the mindset of people understanding their emotions. And that's what I like about her character, especially when it comes to her trying to figure out her husband's needs. Maybe I'm not attractive anymore. Maybe he's talking to other women. Maybe I'm just not as good as I used to be. Or maybe it's my mental state. She thinks about all this and she begins to go insane. But then she picks up on some flaws that he needs to counteract it, as well. So maybe she gets on and off sometimes. Maybe she thinks maybe it's him. Maybe it's not me. And if it is me, then why am I going through this whole phase on my own? So you begin to feel her character, but at the same time, you darkly begin to relate to her character when it comes to her activity. Going to the communication to these characters, I do like the fact that they do have some downtime, and it does not end in a way where you think it's hopeful. It ends in a way where you think it's like very realistic, especially when they come to a starting ground of them confronting their own wrongdoing. Especially when it comes to Robert Pattinson's character, he is mainly like a hypocrite in this whole entire project. I don't want to spoil too much, but he tries his best to try to fix things, but at the same time, he doesn't want to look himself in the mirror when it comes to him being at fault, when it comes to a lot of problematic things happening. The more he tries to fix things, the more things get worse. And that's because he's not looking at the root of the whole problem itself. Especially when it comes to Jennifer Lawrence's character, when they had a talk in the car that I still, to this day, to this point, can't get out of my head. When it came to him trying to talk to her, saying, "Look, I'm there for you. I will do whatever you want to help you out," and she literally just said, "Cut off the music." He didn't even want to do that. So that made me feel as if, wow, like, you can't even pick up on the small signs that he's trying to give you. That just shows how tacked on movies can be when it comes to relations of these characters. And I can understand why people did not like this film, because it does a lot of these signs. And some people may not think that these signs are worthy of this film being attributed of a good film. I think films that are good are films that picks up on relations to these characters. What makes movies a masterpiece is when you pick up on things that a lot of people don't pick up on. Especially when it comes to people like me that is good at looking at films and picking things up that are hidden gems. I like that, my love. Especially when it came to certain attributes of picking up on negative emotions. When it came to the depressional states of Jennifer Lawrence's character. They showed a lot of scenes with her character when she was beginning to feel off. And some people would say that those scenes was not necessary. But when it came to me relating to some of her emotional breakdowns, especially when you feel as if you're talking to somebody and they have a crowd of people in the room. And they talk to this person that you're talking to, but they're not adding communication to you. You feel left out. You feel like a ghost. And this happens a lot in this whole film, especially with her character. They both suffer through certain phases of their relationship, even towards, through people. This film really gave me vibes of Shameless and Euphoria. Going into the end bounds of this project as I was wrapping this whole film up. It ended in a confusing way. I had to look this up, and I don't want to spoil it, but it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. I just think that the way how it ended could have been more educational, if that makes any sense. And what I mean by that is that they could have showed a couple of elements leading to this point. They show elements leading towards the behavior of these characters, but not to the execution that I thought it was warranted. Do I think that the movie ended the way I thought it would be? No, not at all. I thought this movie was going to end in a way where things was going to end off either horrible or in a sense of things being okay. These are Hollywood actors. I'm thinking that Hollywood doesn't have that limelight of just pushing the envelope, but they did. Okay, this film is filled with so much depressional trauma, so much mental breakdowns, and even a lot of sexual context. When it comes to people feeling this way, there's going to be a lot of sexual activity in the mental state of the brain. People don't want to admit this, but that's what I like about this film. They show a lot of things that people that can relate to these characters will fight you for telling people about how they really feel on the inside out. Overall, Die My Love is a very good film. I enjoyed this film a lot. Unfortunately, my wife didn't want to watch this film with me because we've already seen it in theaters. We've seen it when it was in theaters in November. I own it now on digital, so I wanted to watch it again just so I could get my mind refreshed. But she said movies like this does not suit her mind state of just entertainment. But I feel like entertainment is subjective. Like, a film like this will put you on the starting grounds of just unpeeling the boundaries of how people really feel, how people really think. And if this movie is too much for you, and if my review is enough to like cleanse your interest and make you pull away from it, I can completely understand. Stuff like this is not for everybody. But if you want to watch a good movie, when it comes to the introductions of good acting, when it comes to the chemistry of characters and just unfolding the realization of relationships, especially when they're toxic relationships, gone completely haywire, watch it. Watch it. You're definitely going to get an eye peel of just how fucked up things are going to be. I'm going to get Die My Love. Other than that, y'all, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and I hope you all